You mentioned earlier that you have your data platform, you call it the AI platform. And so with all these things that you guys are doing, could you elaborate a little bit about just what it takes to get to a solid foundation and why, maybe people and culture processes are critical in this whole dynamic?
Yeah, a data foundation is, critical to be able to mine the data, harvest the data for insights, and be able to do it in a fast manner and a repeatable, standardized manner at scale. So that data
Right.
foundation is extremely important. And as we look to some of the different elements, as you build your data foundation, obviously you need to have a pretty good understanding of what are the use cases that you're going to be going after, which directly correlates to the data that you need on the platform and
Right.
how to get it. So it's a bit of a supply chain for the data, but it's really good to have that perspective as you get started in laying the right data foundation. Obviously, the foundation needs to have the right technology elements to be able to scale and to be able to deal with, structured data, unstructured data, streaming data, data at rest, and so on and so forth. So that
Right.
technology piece is not to be underestimated. There needs to be, you mentioned people and process. So, people are obviously extremely important to this whole ecosystem, and you got to have the right skill sets. What they call big data, high volume data, high velocity data, and so on. There are all kinds of tools available to be able to do that in the cloud as well as through commercial vendors and open source. And having the right skills is key. And in a lot of cases, there needs to be an upskilling effort because, technology is moving fast. People are used to perhaps some of the older legacy technologies, and having a program in place to upskill, cross-skill, modernize skills is extremely important from the people perspective. The other part that's really important from a people perspective is relationships, because at the end of the day, you want to lay the foundation and deliver value through the use cases. To do that, you need to have a good understanding of the customers, of the stakeholders, and understand their pain points, and making sure that the foundation that you're laying is going to be able to address those pain points. So that becomes really key in terms of the relationships and commitments that are made and the execution to kind of fulfill those commitments. Right. And last but not least, in terms of process, you got to have the right processes in terms of communication, in terms of governance, in terms of security, and so on and so forth. So, sometimes you're dealing with sensitive data, private data. You got to have the right processes to anonymize and make available in a secure manner as needed to the right stakeholders. So, the process piece of this in laying the right foundation is extremely important as well.
Yeah. So we've talked about skills and talent, mainly around those that are kind of doing, but what about what you perceive as like the right profile for a leader, especially in data and analytics? Like, what are some of the characteristics, the traits, like when you're looking at folks that you want to bring onto the team, what is it that you're looking for in that, what their profile, essentially, just what's the right persona?
I would say that the persona, there is no one persona, there are multiple personas, but some of the common elements are the ability to understand the stakeholders' perspectives, customers or internal stakeholders, what are their pain points, what's driving them, what's motivating them, and being able to talk their language in terms of value creation, value delivery, whether it's, incremental value through a product, or is it, direct value to an account team in terms of them understanding their customers better. So the value could be a little bit different depending on the stakeholder, but it's really important for the leaders to be able to relate to them, to be able to talk their language, and translate the data language to language that's understandable by people who are not specialized in data, if you will. So that's something I definitely look for leaders. Obviously, having technology credibility is important. In the data space, depending on the subsegment, data science, data engineering, data architecture, data analytics. So, there could be a lot of different specializations, but it's really important to have a strong and deep background in one or more of the above, if you will, because then you have credibility in terms of being able to talk to your own teams, leading your teams, and so on and so forth. And I'll just end with one last one and, stick to the top three, if you will. I would say that listening skills, empathy skills are extremely important as well. And that translates to how you deal with your own team as well as how you deal with your colleagues, your stakeholders, and so on. Because at the end of the day, the data and the insights from the data are meant to serve a purpose, and having a good understanding of that purpose is key. And without the right listening skills, that becomes really complicated.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So I think that's just a great way to just wrap up today's session. But first off, Dr. Bose, I truly appreciate you coming out here to speak with us. This is the first of many for the Dallas area for the CDO magazine, and so I think we couldn't have had a better person to represent the CDO magazine from your side. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yes. And for those of you that are out there listening, please feel free to come out and check out cdomagazine.tech for any other additional interviews, and of course for this one as well.